boogeyman.
Run, Randy, run!
Welcome to the Inferno. I'm Papa John, and I'm here to guide you through all the hellish sides of horror. And today we are continuing my Conjuring Universe review series with a review of Annabelle Creation. And now, if you recall, my last review in this series, I gave it a really good score because The Conjuring 2 is an amazing movie. However, the review itself, I think, sounded a lot more negative than my actual opinion of the movie. And that's because I'm going to make a controversial statement right here today, and that is, I think Annabelle Creation is the closest this universe has ever gotten to recapturing the magic of the 2013 Conjuring movie. And so, let's talk about it. And so, Annabelle Creation is directed by future Shazam director David F. Sandberg. And so you have this doll maker who makes dolls, because that's what a doll maker does, and his daughter gets killed, gets ran over by this truck, an old-timey truck. And so they try to summon her or something to bring her back, and she gets into this doll, but it ends up not really being her, and it ends up being like this bad demon or something, because that's what the movie is. And then these orphan girls, a group of orphan girls, move in with them. They kind of take them in to help take care of them. And one of them discovers the doll, and the demon is set loose onto the house and onto the people in the house. And so this movie, I have to be honest, I adore this movie so much. It's one of my favorite movies, horror movies at least, of the 2010s, last decade. I just love the fact that this movie, everything about it, the ambiance, even the direction, when you actually look at the camera and everything, it reminds me a lot of James Wan's direction in both of the Conjuring movies that he directed. It has kind of that same camera movement and everything. But I think the reason this one, for me, is closer to capturing the magic is because you don't have these huge, you don't have like monsters coming at you. It's more like actual like ghosts and like possessions and demons, rather than an actual like monster nun or monster crooked man, which, don't get me wrong, they're scary in their own rights, but for me, I like it better when they're more invisible or you don't see them as much, and it's a much more subtler approach. And I think this movie does that in spades, does an amazing job with that. And yeah, when you get towards the end, you start to see a lot of this black demon and everything, but it still kind of blends in with a lot of the shadowy backgrounds and stuff. I also love the setting in this movie. It's kind of in this isolated house in the middle of this field, and to me it kind of helps add to the horror because they can't just run away. You know, they have to be able to drive, they have to have access to a car, and they're old-timey cars, and so they're not as reliable as modern-day cars. And so they can't just run away willy-nilly if they have to, because they're just going to end up in the middle of a field with nowhere to go. And I think that helps add to the horror. And I think the sound design is nowhere near as good as the Conjuring movies, but I still think it's extremely good. The Annabelle doll has never been scarier than she is in this movie because of the way they edit the sound around her and the visuals around her, and the cinematography is great. And when the disabled girl, the main girl, gets possessed towards the end, she's actually a very scary and frightening little girl there. She does a great performance. That actress does a great performance. Very believable, very scary performance. Now, I did say, as an unpopular opinion, I prefer Annabelle Creation to The Conjuring 2, but I will say the acting is a lot better overall in The Conjuring 2. I think the main child actress in this movie is phenomenal, but the surrounding cast is a little lackluster, and the opening to the movie is very lackluster. The opening's not great. The car impact when the girl actually gets killed, the daughter that eventually possesses the doll, that her death at the beginning was very lackluster, and it was just kind of boom. It was nowhere near something unexpected or anything like that. And so, what circle of hell does Annabelle Creation belong in? I love this movie so much. I adore this movie. It's nowhere near as good as 2013's The Conjuring, but like I said, I actually prefer it to The Conjuring 2. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, a controversial statement, but it honestly just comes down to the fact I think this one is more understands what made the first movie so great for it, in my opinion, or at least made it great for me in terms of the subtler approach and not so much monsters approach. And so for me, Annabelle Creation is one hell of a movie. It's amazing. It is extremely underappreciated. Not enough people talk about this movie. It almost seems like the forgotten Conjuring universe movie because it's not one people talk about as being terrible, but it's never in the people don't mention it in the same conversation in terms of being towards the top. And so it just kind of gets lost in the middle there, it seems like. But I think it's an amazing movie that deserves a lot more appreciation than it gets. And that's why I'm putting Annabelle Creation in Purgatorio, the best of the best. Go ahead and tell me your thoughts on Annabelle Creation in the comment section down below. Tell me why I'm wrong for preferring it to The Conjuring 2. And if you enjoyed this review, go ahead and smash that thumbs up icon, smash that subscribe button, hit that notification bell as well. And as always, have one hell of a good time.